I want to show you guys some really cool products we have in the shop for tying eggs. Let's take a look. What's up everybody, Josh Trammell here. Gonna go over some products we got in the shop recently and a few that we've had in the shop for quite some time. This is going to be specifically highlighting eggs, and egg yarn specifically. We're gonna use a little bit of the old school stuff, the McFly foam, glow bug yarn, things like that. But this video is basically to show you some new things that we've been using for probably about the last 4 or 5 years, something like that. But these new products really make life a lot easier. So first things first, the newest product that we got in the shop that's been around for a minute is this the Spirit River UV2 row yarn. Comes in a ton of different colors and has a bunch of cool UV properties to it. We've had this in the shop for a while as well. The stuff from Fulling Mill, the Easy egg yarn, comes in a bunch of different sizes. The ones that we carry, the ones that I really love a good bit, is this. It is a mini size. That one's great for like low clear water, super finesse stuff, even great for a lot of trout applications and things like that. And then this bigger size in the pearl is great for higher dirty water, you know, when we get conditions that are a foot or less of visibility, which we're coming into the time of the season where that's going to happen quite a bit here in the spring. So let's jump right into it.
Howdy friends, sorry to interrupt, but just a friendly reminder, we do not have sponsors here. It's only MadRiverOutfitters.com. So if you want to support the channel, of course subscribe, but hop on over to MadRiverOutfitters.com and buy something. After all, that's what we're in business for. Now back to the video.
Let's start with this, the UV2 row yarn. So first things first, I typically, for this style of egg, I like this, really like the Daiichi, the 510 HD in a size 10. I will bump up to like a 6 or an 8 if I'm using, you know, some of this, some of the pearl, some of the larger stuff for dirty water, you know, something that's gonna have a little bit more profile, larger size, brighter colors, things like that. But we're gonna start with this size 10 for now. So start our thread here on the hook. A thread that I really like using, and I know Dustin and Rob have used it a little bit as well, is this Nano Silk from Semperfli. This is specifically the 50 denier. It is super strong, and usually when we are cranking out these eggs, we are doing quite a few of them. So the worst thing that you can have happen is breaking your thread. It's quite the pain in the butt. All right, so first things first, the simplest thing to do with this is it's basically just a chenille. It comes on a cord or just in a bag similar to this, like you can see. So I'll take a little bit and we're just going to do a single tone here. Attach that down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this chenille and I'm going to just palmer it forward. I like kind of brushing those fibers back just so I'm able to kind of cleanly wrap forward here. On this size egg, on the size 10, the Daiichi, a lot of times I'm gonna roll with 3 or 4 wraps, and that's typically enough. You know, when I'm going into these bigger dirty water style eggs, I may do 5 or 6 wraps. But for a general rule of thumb, 3 to 4 wraps is typically good. So I'm gonna do my 3 or 4 wraps, tie that all the way forward. I'm gonna expose that cord right there, the center of that chenille, and I'm just gonna take 3 or 4 wraps to tighten it down, bring that back, take a couple wraps forward here, and then I'm just gonna do a quick couple turn whip finish. There we go. Snip that off, and I usually like using a razor blade to cut that off. Reason being for that is when I cut it off, it's right here in my fingers. I can put a new hook in and I'm ready to go. Usually when I sit down and I'm tying these things, I don't think there's ever been a time that I've sat down and I've tied 1 egg. Usually it's going to be anywhere from 10 to a dozen or sometimes more. So super, super easy there. Just a nice single egg, way easier, way quicker than this type of stuff. And you get these cool UV properties in this stuff too. So let's move on. We're gonna use the same hook here, that Daiichi 510 HD. Start my thread again here, and I'm typically just going about halfway to 2/3 of the way back here. So this is something that I do a lot here, and I know Dustin and Rob have been doing quite a bit, is making this two-tone egg. So we're gonna take both these colors, both this, this yellowy chartreuse and this salmon pink. We're just gonna marry them together. And I like pinching off a little bit of this fluff here just so we have an easier tie-in point. I'm gonna take those two ends of that chenille, trap it in right there. All right, and same kind of thing, even though we're using two, we're gonna just do, and we're just gonna do like about 3 or 4 wraps again. So same kind of thing, I'm just palmering these back. And I'm just wrapping them side by side here. So I'll do 1. I'll do 2. And 3. Pull apart those fibers. Give me a nice clean tie-in spot here. Make a little head. And finish her off right there. All right, like I was saying, I really like the razor blade, especially when I'm using the two-tone. So I can clip that off right there and just pop a new hook in and I'm good to go for the next one. All right, so both of these, both this watermelon, this chartreuse and peach, and just this peach right here, these would be what I would consider more like kind of prime water. And what I mean by prime water is anywhere from that kind of 2 foot to 3 foot of visibility. So that's going to vary on river to river, but for most of the time, you know, this not crazy bright egg is going to work well in that 2 to 3 foot of visibility. So let's jump into a little bit more of a dirty water egg. So we will stick with that same hook size. We're just going to make a little bit brighter color. All right, so we've got our yellow chartreuse pearl. And I've just got a standard orange here. This can be the UV, this can be the pearl, whatever you want to go with. The cool thing about this stuff is you can blend 2 colors together and really make any kind of combination. Like some of my favorites for that more prime color water or that watermelon that I just tied, like a scrambled egg, which would be more of a white and a yellow or a cream and a yellow, pink and like a pink and white work really well, chartreuse and white. There's a whole unlimited things, whole unlimited number of things that you can do with this egg yarn. All right, so like I said, you can bump up in hook size on these as well. We're just gonna stick with the same hook size, but do just a little bit bigger egg. I'm gonna do like probably 5 or 6 wraps on here. It is pretty wild how big you can go with this stuff, and it's super easy. Hence the name, Easy Egg Yarn. All right. So on this little bit thicker stuff, sometimes it may be hard to find that core. So what I'll do is I'll just take a bodkin in my hands here, and I will just kind of spread those fibers apart That way I can find the cord part of that chenille a little bit better. Trap that down a couple times. All right. And to get a little bit bigger profile here, I'll take that bodkin and I will kind of pick some of those fibers out here, and you can see it already starting to fluff up a good bit more. And this is a color combination that would work in a size that would work pretty well in, you know, that sub 1.5 to, you know, all the way up to like 6 inches of visibility. And I'll show you here's some different color combinations that I'll roll with. I'll roll with, you know, just a straight orange here. I'll do just a straight chartreuse. Works pretty well. Even some pink or pink and white. Those three colors and color combinations, you know, the pink, the orange, and chartreuse are all great colors that show up really, really well in dirty water. We're not always going to have super, super dirty water. So when we get into situations like typically our early falls, which could be that middle, late October time frame, even into November sometimes, and a lot of times throughout the spring, especially later in the spring, we're looking for a smaller egg, you know, a more natural presentation. So we're going to roll with this easy egg yarn in the mini, and we're going to do something just like that. Super, super tiny, super natural. All right, so this easy egg yarn, we're gonna take a little bit here. All right. Pop that hook in there. The hook I really like using for these smaller eggs, it's a pretty stout hook. There's a couple different ones that you can use. The Daiichi 1120 in like a size 14, 16, even a 12 works pretty good. But I've been really liking this Umpqua U202 in a size 14 or 16. We're rolling with a 14 today. Just kind of a scud style, caddis style hook. All right, and we're gonna do the same exact kind of thing that we were doing with those larger materials. So we're gonna catch that in pretty good. And we're looking for something small here, right? So I'm just gonna make those touching wraps just like I did on the other one. And a lot of times I'm only using 3 wraps of this stuff, just like the big. Okay, catch that in. Try to do a little whip finish here on this teeny tiny hook. All right. So just for size comparison here is on that size 10 Daiichi with the regular size, either the UV2 row yarn or the pearl version that Fulling Mill sells. You can see the size comparison there. Quite a bit bigger with the stuff that's in my right hand and quite a bit smaller for the mini size. So again, prime water. more of a dirty water presentation, and stuff in the low clear range. So this could be anything from like 4 to 5 feet, even that gin clear kind of conditions that, like I said, we have a lot in that that fall time frame. So really an unlimited number of combinations you can do with this stuff. We'll go over one more before we wrap up. Let's jump back to that Daiichi, the 510 HD. Okay, pop that in there. Go ahead and start our thread. All right, we're just gonna take a little bit of glow bug yarn or McFly foam, whatever your choice. And I don't use this a ton, but it definitely has a spot in my box. What we're gonna do here is we're just gonna make kind of a little hot spot right in the middle. So this would be very similar to like kind of a blood dot egg. Super simple. There's a couple ways that you can do this. You can either take a little piece of this, the Easy Egg yarn or the UV2 row yarn, and you can tie it down, or I've found it even a lot easier to just take a piece, you know, just a 1.5 to 2 inch long piece of this glow bug yarn, and I'm gonna catch that down right in the middle, a few wraps right in there, and you can see I've tied this kind of right in between where I've caught the yarn in between the hook eye, pretty much dead center. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this yarn, I'm gonna make a couple wraps right behind, and then I'm gonna bring this yarn forward. 1, 2, okay, tie that down. Pop a whip finish in there. All right. So just another way we can get kind of a two-tone yarn egg here. I'll usually trim this down. I'll kind of twist it in my hands and trim it about the same length as my egg yarn that I tied in. And you can see there, great little hot spot on top of that egg. One situation where I might choose this over, you know, the standard kind of two-tone egg is when things are pretty cold. Having a hot spot like a hot orange or a bright chartreuse or this very hot pink. When things are cold, fish's metabolism slows, so they're not willing to move for stuff as commonly as they would in more prime water temperatures, say in the 40s to 50s, stuff like that. So sometimes having a little hot spot to your egg can be super beneficial in the long run. So like I said, tons of different color combinations in the shop. We've got everything from the mini to the pearl to the UV. You can even go old school and jump back into using this for what I just did here, hot spots. Unlimited combinations, a couple great hooks you can use too. So just an example of some stuff that I roll over. One last thing before I log off here, something I will do a good bit here. Don't have any in my box right now, but I'll take these little buggers and I will usually leave a little bit of room in front of the head, and you can either take this mini, depending on the size of fly you're trying to go with, or you can take the pearl. You can take whatever, there's no rules. And you can put a little egg head on here, or you can use that as the chenille for your whole bugger. Like I said, unlimited combinations, whatever your heart desires. Cool new products in the shop, check them out. If you have any questions, always give us a call or shoot us an email at admin@madriveroutfitters.com. Just remember to like and subscribe so you can catch us for more videos like this, and we'll see you on the next one.